There's people out there, Rolla, who legitimately believe that there's a population collapse. Like, there's not enough fucking going on, and in 20 years, there'll be 1 billion people on the planet. They legitimately believe this nonsense. The concept of below replacement and population collapse.
Sure.
Where do you stand on this whole thing? Do you think, I'll just tell you where I stand. A place where you had a minority that was ruling a country and a majority that was trying to come after that minority is South Africa. Okay? Where Elon Musk is from. And I believe there's some bias in his belief about this replacement level stuff. It's like, he's not worried about a population collapse. He's worried about a population collapse of educated white people. And those people aren't having babies as fast as, in his mind, and I don't think he's a racist, but uneducated Mexicans who are coming across the border. Okay? And black people who are having babies out of wedlock are outbreeding, in his mind, good Protestant educated white people.
High IQ white people.
So that's what I'm seeing. From the outside looking in, that's what I'm seeing. And I'm saying this as a conservative. That's what I'm seeing. And then the other part was the concept, and this is not incorrect, is the idea of people live longer, the span increases. So these people from 63 years old to like 83 are having to be subsidized by people working from the ages of 18 to 35. And so there's not enough people in the 1835 cohort to pay for these people, and so then we're going to have a problem.
Shrugged.
We're going to have this problem. So where do you stand on this? There's people out there, Rolla, who legitimately believe that there's a population collapse. Like, there's not enough fucking going on, and in 20 years there'll be 1 billion people on the planet. They legitimately believe this nonsense. So like, if you think there's a population collapse, look at the birth rate in Mexico, Brazil, and Indonesia. There's no population collapse of Homo sapiens. There will be more Homo sapiens in the future than there are now. The birth rate exceeds the death rate in total. What's happened is, in certain societies, because of immigration and other things, the population doesn't keep up. There are places like, I don't believe Japan wants any more people, and I know China doesn't. So like, it's one of these. There's this massive misunderstanding when it comes to this population idea. What do you think about it?
I'm going to piss off a lot of people. So here's the thing: is first of all, I'm going to give you the numbers. Okay. Now, I quoted these numbers on our show with James Sexton and the rest of these guys. And the numbers are this: is if you go and you look at the fertility rate from 1971 to where we are right now, the decline in fertility began in the mid 70s. We have been in the United States. We have all been below replacement level fertility levels since about 1975. Don't believe me? Go look it up. I'll give it to you. In fact, I've used it on my show several times.
Now, do you see the confusion? If we're below replacement level since the 1970s, and that's 50 years ago, why are there more than twice as many humans on the planet? For those of you who don't know, there were 1 billion humans on the planet in 1900 and 7.2 billion humans on the planet in the year 2000. Why are there 7 times as many people if we're below replacement level?
Okay, so those are the numbers, those statistics. If you look country by country, I mean, God, Japan is like just abysmal right now as far as a replacement level is concerned. When you say replacement, you also think great replacement. We also think that, so what's the intent and what are the numbers and what's actually causing those numbers, okay? The reason why Matt Walsh and the rest of his cohorts have a problem with us as Red Pill guys is because, again, we're the boogeyman. You guys are the reason why we're not having babies. You're the reason why the marriage rate is at 5.1 per 1,000 right now, the lowest rate that it's ever been since the 1848 when they started keeping track of all this. No, it's actually a result of hormonal birth control and the sexual revolution. So if you look at where declining fertility rates started, it starts all right around the same time, right around 1965 to 1975, and I always peg it around 1970, 1971, when we were talking about no-fault divorce. Well, as far as I'm able to sort of determine here, no-fault divorce is the product of hormonal birth control, because what happens, hormonal birth control becomes a thing and women start taking it, they start divorcing their husbands. So if you look at the correlation, I know it's not causation, but if you look at the correlation between the rise in use of hormonal birth control and you look at the rise in divorce, it's almost identical. And it's not, again, it's a correlation, but that's a hell of a fucking correlation. So when you get up to that top level there, and then it declines and it falls off to where we're at right now in the United States, it's either 6.1 or 5.1 right now, depending. I think in 2020 it was 5.1. But you look at the abysmal rate of marriage right now, plus you have hormonal birth control, plus you put more women into the workplace, plus you empower women, plus you fundamentally change the human race and the intersexual dynamics between men and women. Why do I obsess over this stuff so much? It's stuff like this.
When you say fundamentally change, you're like women who would be fertile are now longer fertile because
we basically have the sexual revolution is a product, or it is a project in eugenics. It is and I'm not saying intentionally, it's just is as a result of just being it at all. So you've got eugenics that's going in there. You have essentially turned over the human reproductive process to one sex. You were just saying a little while ago when we were talking about mate switching hypothesis, it's like, well, women are just fucked up now. Like it's because of society. And it's because they have
we're allowed to be delusional.
We're allowed to be delusional
because we're so far away from the survival scenario.
So are we allowed to be delusional, or have we given women carte blanche right now when it comes to human reproduction? So you have hormonal birth control. Don't come at me for vasectomies when for the last like 60 some odd years post-sexual revolution, you go and you look at the drop in fertility below replacement. What I'm saying is women have always been that way.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that now they have the luxury and the option to be as fucked up and as delusional as they want to be. They've always been that way, but now society has switched so dramatically as a result of one invention that now we see what they're really about. Because prior to that, we had all these buffers. We had societal buffers. We had stigmas for single mothers. We had the church. We had quote unquote patriarchy, all right up until 1 year, right around 1965, 1970, somewhere in there. That's when the sexual revolution really took off. And that's where things change. So if you look at all of these cultural things that are big hot button issues right now, if you trace back like where they started and where the decline was, you will always find one commonality. About 1970 is when they all started. Okay. So getting back to what you're saying, as far as reproduction is concerned, as far as fertility rates are concerned, is there an intent behind it? Is it the Rockefellers who invented feminism? Is it Elon Musk who is talking about the Great Replacement? Is it Klaus Schwab who's behind all this? Is it this Illuminati guys in a darkened room smoking cigarettes in a silhouette somewhere with baby eating, Moloch worshiping, Jeffrey Epstein Island going guys like that? And my answer to that is no, it's not. It's because the only other option is we're just that fucked up.
Yeah.
We're just that's just human nature. And when you give us that much option, that's where we go. We become delusional.
Yeah.
You give us hormonal birth control, we don't have to we can have sex and we don't have to worry about pregnancy. We now revert to type. We now revert to what we really, really are because we don't have to worry about those societal stigmas anymore. In fact, a single mother today is a superhero. Prior to 1965, that was the worst shame you could bring upon a family. All that shame is gone. And that's why when people say, Rollo, when's this pendulum going to swing back? It's never swinging back because there's no pendulum to swing back in the first place because technology won't permit it.
Yes.
So,
all right, so you're saying instead of one big nefarious thing, it's a bunch of little negligent things that stacked on paper cuts. On paper. Yes. Okay, so it's kind of like what Professor Reeves was saying.
But see, here's the thing: when people feel out of control, they have to find some way to externalize it. So it's the Jews, it's Jeffrey Epstein, it's the Illuminati, it's whoever Alex Jones hates this week.
Yeah.
It's whoever it's the red pill guys. That's we're the villain du jour right now, and it'll be somebody else sooner or later.